Hello, everyone. Let's talk about family dynamics. So, let's talk about this new thing that I might be very late to the party, but here we go. Part 1 Dynamics. Am I qualified for this? No, I'm not, but as someone who has experience as a little sister, I can say I understand what goes on in a family. So, let's go ahead and start seeing some examples here. From the very beginning, we go to see Sun and Moon with a horrible father, and their father left them in the Pizzaplex for we don't know how long. What a great start. Anyways, that is how the Sun and Moon show is created. After Sun and Moon are split, they grow as brothers and they have a lot of different hardships and struggles, but they end up growing from those struggles. Then we start seeing toxic relationships like Lunar and Eclipse because of the physical and mental abuse and how this affects their relationship. And then we even see the toxic perfectionism from Earth, which will be talked about in another episode. So let's go ahead and see what's more. Eclipse and Lunar have both had their own issues. Eclipse killing Lunar has been definitely one of the hardest tools they had in their brotherhood, which also led to Lunar practically disowning Eclipse. And Lunar, we'll talk about him more in a later episode, but he needs love. He needs affection. He needs the attention, which is why he decided to go to dark star magic, because he thought his only purpose was his magic. I will do a separate video on these characters too. But let's talk about these let's talk about their dynamics, shall we? So let's start. Solar is the mediator of the whole entire family. He acts as the oldest, and he's very calm and relaxed. One of the only members of the family that has a kid other than Sun. Two sides of the spectrum. One person was made to get along with kids, and the other was not really made to do that. But he is a good parent, and he does appreciate children, but not all the time. Moon is mostly the scapegoat, and is basically the one who always has to be in charge of the family. He's also blamed for all of the family's problems and stuff. He even blames himself on some ends. Earth is the perfectionist and things like that. It's like a lot of stuff. There's a lot of to unpack when it comes to Earth. Like I said, separate video. Now let's see part 2. Changes in dynamics. According to my studies and according to fiction, we can see that two characters are always there are two types of characters, static and dynamic. Static are basically, you don't really know much about them until they grow over time and they stay the same because you just see how they react with certain issues. And you can also see dynamic characters. Most of the characters here are very dynamic, except the astrals. You don't know much about them until you start seeing more of them, as you can see. But we will continue on that in another episode when I go deep diving into astral bodies and how they are with their lives. Now, let's go ahead and see. According to this, we have a bunch of a list of characters with their family dynamics. Sundrop and Moondrop are the two oldest twins. Moon, the responsive one, and Sun, the goofy one. Very much Artemis and Apollo vibes, and it's basically have been this sort of dynamic across years and decades. It's a very similar trait where there is a very big sunshine brother and there is a calm, relaxed girl. We'll talk a bit more about that when it comes to dynamics. We'll see what we can get into when it comes to this. Farther down the line, we see Moon becoming more energetic, spunky, and start releasing all the energy that was trapped inside him, while Sun is is becoming less individualistic and more like parental. He's becoming more relaxed, especially when it comes to Dazzle. And it's basically how your body reacts to the environment, and your persona can change after traumatic events. in this case, Sun is tired of all the craziness and he cannot match up with it, so he's starting to relax and start calming down. Moon, on the other hand, he has been getting huge amounts of boosts in his energy from being down a lot. And it basically shows how they both deal with their emotions and anxiety. As you can tell, in other times, Moon sometimes does get progressively worse, but then he will be able to talk to a friend about it. Sun refuses to do so until he is basically told that it would be better for the family. So we'll also talk about his anxiety and schizophrenia after dealing with Blood Moon and Moondrop. So he does not know how to deal with this. He tries to get out of his brother's way later on. It seems like the betrayal hits hard. This is how a dynamic can be affected by the environment around them. Dynamics between two characters, which is the abuser and the victim. It shows that Sun is a victim and still not over his victim mentality ever since he started to see the new moon, which was Nexus. His mentality towards Nexus has not changed, and his mentality towards Moon has not changed. He was given the option to either kill Moon or Nexus, and starts like this would horrifically traumatize him until further notice. Yes, this does make him more vulnerable, which makes him more willing to compromise. But as you guys see, we see Dazzle and he starts relaxing, and that's how he becomes more fatherly. Which is why the Christmas gift of adoption papers so he can adopt Dazzle. This is like the full complete circle, and it shows a completely new family dynamic that now Sun has a daughter. Lunar and Earth, it is similar and different. Lunar had to deal with a bunch of horrible stuff from Eclipse, being a victim of abuse, which we will talk about in a later episode. Trust me as I say this. We can also see that he's greedy for attention and he's trying to get the love of the astral Gemini, but things get downhill. Here's the thing. I personally don't have a very much, I feel a kinship for Gemini. I don't love them, but I also don't hate them. It's just a like. Thank you very much. For those who want to disagree, please tell me so in the comments. And with the dumb little things that Lunar had decided to do, he ends up hurting Earth. And then Lunar starts getting the same mentality Moon had, but this time more of a I hurt her once, I can hurt her again type of motivation, type of stuff. She believes she cannot trust anyone because, first of all, her father betrayed her, her brothers betrayed her, Sun is the only one that hasn't betrayed her, so that's why in one of the episodes, she chooses Sun to trust and they have a pact to not hurt each other. And we see from this whole entire series that she changes from a little innocent ball of energy or tall ball of energy to a traumatized person that can't move correctly because of the pain of someone hurting her. It makes the relationships that she had with her, the sweet relationships she has, to become sour. But as you can see nowadays, it's starting to become a lot more sweeter. And as she starts realizing that, hey, maybe I can forgive, but my body will not be able to forgive it. Let's talk about repentance and the conclusion. Shown in these little slides here, we have discussed two different sibling relationships, Sun and Moon, Lunar and Earth, and even a bit of Eclipse and Lunar. So let's see. What has happened here now? We see that Moon used to be the distant brother, Sun used to be the more energetic of the two. Now it is reversed. Moon is more energetic, Sun is more distant. Lunar used to be the most traumatized and depressed character of the show, and it started to change. When Lunar started to heal, he also cannot get over his issues though. Earth has to get more issues because of having to deal with Lunar's issues. Is there a way to fix this? Is there a way to get better? Yes. It does take the family's help, but as we can tell, that's not going to be present here. Well, now, this thing was created like a while ago. The script was created a little before the remorse and stuff. So, there is some hope. And there actually has been signs of Earth forgiving Lunar. She has forgiven Lunar, but she does not forget what happened to her. Lunar has started to become a bit more suicidal because of the Kirin's words. He knows that he doesn't even know if these words are true or not, so his brain is getting all scrambled. We'll talk more about that sort of issue later on. As you can see, this sort of abuse and this sort of thing can affect the psyche. This family has either been through abuse mentally or physically, or has a huge set of anxiety. So, once you have it, it changes your life forever. That's the fact. Especially when you start seeing how other people deal with their traumas. It affects them for practically their whole lives, and it makes them have a different point of view. In this case, Lunar feels like he wasn't worthy of love. He doesn't feel worthy of anything, so he tries to find it in other things. It's just like a lot of issues because he never had parents to show him validation. Even his brother never showed him validation, so he's trying to find it in other things. But now he's thinking, am I being too selfish for wanting these things? You guys can decide if that's true or not. In my opinion, I believe he should spend more time away so that way he's fully developed and Earth can actually have the courage to, deal with him more. Because I know this show is called the Lunar and Earth show, but I do feel like they do need more time separated. It does suck, but sometimes separation does help. You can't keep using exposure therapy forever because then, like in the worst case scenario, she becomes more scared and chooses to literally leave. For Sun and Moon, it's like, it seems good. Things are doing great. And I believe that if they continue on the path that they are, things will go great. And Moon can have his freedom. Sun can possibly get over everything. All his wounds and stuff are all melting away. And as we've seen from the more recent episodes, Sun has also been more of a therapist person. And I think he really helps that role since he is a person that has dealt with these issues for quite some time. Now, I want to say this. I hope you guys enjoyed for this video. If you did, please give me a like and even subscribe so you can see more videos like this. Look in the description down below for my new playlist. They will be added along with many other videos. This is the first of many, so I hope you guys like this, and I want to see what you guys think of this new form of content in the comments. Now, I want to give you guys some homework. Make today or tonight count. Make sure you take care of yourself. Have a good day. Have a good night's rest. Or hope you wake up feeling great. Bye, guys.